almost crossed the road, so nothing was nice. I hate it when I have to break out of concentration, break out of my center to fix this stupid phone. So, let's see. I remember. Tools again. Folks will love this one. This is a secret that I'm supposed to share. When I first started learning about computers, I didn't know very much. I was curious, very curious. So, in my browser, and I think, what would I like to know more about? So I went to the MIT website so I could see what kind of software I could find and download, mess around with. MIT might have set up. And I played around. As I went other things, you folks might. I didn't think that was some hacker controlled my browser and was talking to me in text bubbles, a cartoon in the newspaper. They were nice, and they seemed to know what I was doing, because they said, "Would you like to see something cool, neat, whatever they said?" And they distinctly had an accent. You were texting somebody over online, and they speak broken English. Well, they type broken English too, and I can pick an accent out, at least enough to tell whether it's European, African, Asian, all that, Spanish. So it was a European accent. It seemed to be a female, but I have no way of knowing that. But if you think that your curious friend Josh said no to what I like to see something cool, then you would be correct. So I said yes, and she took me to a website that was like a large database of scientific information with illustrations, molecules, atoms, subatomic particles, DNA, because Google's been doing the Human Genome Project and everything, and they've got the entire DNA sequences of many different creatures on this planet, including humans. Humans were kind of like top of the list, So I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm like, okay, I get it. But why am I being shown this? And they said, I'll just say she. Software used to be written in like a more binary, less intuitive manner, to where it was more of a tool and could make small functions happen, like things going on and off automatically, little things like that. But there came a point where they looked at all this information, like the molecular structure of things, the interactions of physics and biology, especially biology. There's an emphasis on that, they said. So they started writing software to mimic chemical interactions in the body, like proteins and amino acids, enzymes, all that shit. They were able to write software that emulates it, and it works. So what are they doing? What is that? Does that resonate with you in any way? I was alarmed. Like, deep within myself, something was alarmed. I mean, isn't that screwing with God's chemistry set? Kind of like playing with Daddy's toys. I certainly didn't get a good vibe. I got like a doom vibe. And after that, they asked me to do a little test thing. I still don't know what that test was that I did. Whatever it was, they said I passed, and they asked me if I wanted to work with them. And then they offered to, I told them I didn't have a really good computer, took me to a website, took my browser to a website, showed me this really advanced, expensive setup and said, we'll buy this one for you if you want. And at this point, I was unnerved. And I did not even shut my computer down. I unplugged it from the wall. I'll never forget that. Never. And I bet you nobody will believe me. There's people that I've told this to other people before. The feedback wasn't exactly, well, it was mixed. I understand that. But I'm not lying about this. So, this is weird. And this happened over 15 years ago. And I've only become more of a geek since. I mean, maybe I've never mentioned this before, but my only hobby up until now, before I started taking this path, is making computers and smartphones and all that technology. That's what they call an enthusiast. So, performance-driven, quality-driven. I came out of vibration, by the way. I'm talking about me. You'll know when I'm talking because I've got a bad balance that I'm working on, and if you see me saying words that are low vibrational, it's just the old pattern trying to come through, but it's never been able to come back and take the reins. So I'm glad. I mean, that helps. I mean, part of mastery is the realization that you're no longer vulnerable. Am I getting on the freeway? Looks like I'm getting on the freeway. I don't want to do that. I know. That field. Probably not supposed to go in there. I wouldn't go in there if I had my dog because there's rattlesnakes out here, and I don't want my baby to get bit and he'd go after it and being sick. But now that I'm alone, I think I can go out here and it looks nice. Let's keep an eye out for snakes, folks. So it looks like I guess I'm just talking about the different constructs of the enemy. So you see what they're capable of 20 years ago, and the exponential rate of advancement, like a snowball running downhill. Folks, I really hope you realize that technology is not a safe thing. Everything comes from God, but everything that's been corrupted has been corrupted by call it what you want. But you know what I'm talking about. Oh, look. Got some cool cactuses. So, be careful online. Be very careful online. The enemy is very desperate right now, and I'm noticing this. While at the same time I like to see them in panic, I also know that they're taking the brakes off of whatever has prevented them to do all the things that they can do because they're not limited by any morals. I mean, when it gets down to the end, folks, there's not going to be any political prosecutions of people. It's going to be rounding up, dude. And there's a dead thing. What is that? Nope, that's cactus. It's the mark of the beast type thing. It is literally the mark of the beast. And a lot of people have said this, but I think it's good to reassure people that when the mark of the beast comes, you're not going to have any doubt that that's what it is. Because God made sure that your free will is going to be the determining factor as far as that's concerned. It could be. And this has to be shared. It could be that the choice will be take the mark of the beast or die. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind what my answer will be. But coming to that point where there's this very pretty place. It feels nice here and it's very green. It's where I'm supposed to be anyways. That choice could be there. Why not prepare yourself with that mentally and spiritually right now so that you can stop living in fear? Fear takes all the joy out of life. It calls itself other things so that you don't know what it is. It's probably the worst enemy of humanity, the sharpest sword in the enemy's armory. I felt like it came from somewhere else. Just don't go worrying about your car payment too much. Don't live for it. If you have problems with your family members, don't ignore it. Listen to them. Don't try and tell them how you feel. Listen to how they feel first. Not that your feelings are invalid, but they will get in the way of you hearing any truth, because it's ego. Ego is the illusionary fiction that you've been convinced is you. It's that straw man, that legal fiction. It's all of that. You have to step out of that for one. First, you have to realize that's a ridiculous lie that I'm not going to ever live in again. How did I spend the largest portion of my life living that long? Knowing better deep down inside. If I could be embarrassed about it anymore, I would be. But divine timing is divine timing. I say that. Don't be on the fence, folks. Existence isn't here to be on the fence. It's here to express. And some have chosen to stop expressing and to start consuming other people's expressions. But they didn't like the flavor of those expressions, so they needed to season those expressions. So they made sure that people had enough of those low vibrationary fields going on so that they would actually be nourishing to them. But they're losing. They're losing. People all over the world are doing what I'm doing. All over the world. It was through them making videos sort of like this that I guess I needed proof. I needed proof because I was just like you. One of the most difficult things I've ever done. Deciding to do this. I guess because the rewards are so far beyond. Insulted by trying to say how great the rewards are. I don't even know how great they are. So you're learning with me, you're growing with me. Probably, I don't know if anybody else has documented this sort of thing. I wish I could see it. I wish I could see it. But if I'm breaking trail here, then I'm breaking trail. I don't do that with any ego. Ego, anytime I try to wear that coat, it feels like a stain. I feel like I stink. And then I want to be in my own skin, so those days are over. I can't do anything but live truth now. jobs, folks. Don't get it mixed up. I'm not saying you to do all that. You can still become spiritual. If you're not called to do some extra hard work, you're not going to be running through the ringers like I was. But I didn't learn how to survive all these things to just not put it to use afterwards. I mean, just wake up. Wake up, folks. Just don't be angry. I know, it sounds hard. Don't be envious. Stop wanting other things that people have. That's a bad one. That's a hard one. They're really trying with the envy thing now. It's all about inflating some picture of kinghood and calling that enlightenment, because you can buy stuff, because you can buy people. The only people that can be bought are people that desperately in need of saving, and all you're doing is hurting children when you buy people like that. Even if they're adults, you're hurting children because they have children. You're hurting that child. And the spiritual karma for that is basically like what it says in the Bible. The more you uplift people, the more you heal their child, the closer we are to heaven, the closer we are to getting there. That's all we gotta do. Stay out of dark. Stay out of evil. Bring it up. The lowest high vibration is acceptance. It's a still place. It's still. And it doesn't have any more of those voices that want to make excuses. Sit in acceptance until it no longer until you have it, until you accept. Some things are so basic you can't really give it a pretty word or an extra special. Sometimes it's just, it is what it is. Acceptance, gratitude. You can grow your gratitude. It's a hard one too. That stuff's easy. When you're not used to staying up, you're gonna realize how much of your life you spent in the gutter. Once you start feeling acceptance, gratitude, love, truth. But the truth is so hard to see if you don't get to the other ones first. You don't start at truth. Truth is there. It's there whether you are or not. Truth is truth is truth. You can get to truth, but you have to come through acceptance, gratitude, love. So, maybe this has been long. I don't feel called to walk anymore. This is where I was supposed to go. And this is where I was supposed to deliver that message. Pretty little field right here alongside the freeway. It's got kind of a peaceful feel to it though. So, go ahead and walk home. That's pretty deep. I learned just as much as you did. So try a spirit walk, folks. Whatever you're doing, if you get a strong urge, don't brush it aside. If you can, stop what you're doing. Be still for a moment. Listen to your heart. And when a direction comes to you, get up and go. Don't think about it. Get up and go. This is ancient knowledge, man. People used to do this all the time. Nobody had to tell them how to do it. It was just a part of the culture of humanity. That's another thing I want to talk about. I attended years ago when I lived in Washington State a festival they have in the mountains called Barter Fair. It's in Tonasket. It's also called the Okanagan Family Fair or something. But yeah, it's a bunch of Woodstock type people, hippie type people, and you go there for 3 days. And you've got a lot of Native American tribes that do their rituals and do their medicine. You've got circles of people, of natives doing drums and dancing, and you got people up on stage doing their thing with their instrument or their yoga or their teachings. Wow, I can't really. Barter Fair is a magical experience. They call it Barter Fair because what they encourage is trading. So if you make something like a textile, handbags, clothes, even if you airbrush shirts, do silk screening or whatever. Some people had clothing that was made from hemp fiber. A lot of people cooked because there's no, that's what the food vendors are, the people who bring food and cook. So it's really encouraged to trade. So whatever you brought, you'll be trading that for anything else you want. And it's all there. It's all there, folks. Not going to focus on the recreational aspects of it. Suffice to say that if it's something you wanted, you'll probably find it. It's on their different place on the journey. Psychedelics did a lot of good for me. They'll give you a glimpse into the world that you're trying to see, and it's like a little bit of proof that it exists. And it can sometimes be useful in destroying the illusion. I think that's what psychedelics do best. They shatter the illusions for the duration, but you can't hold it. That's the problem. You learn how to hold it like this, you don't need psychedelics. Life's too magical already. Do I need to have the world melt before my eyes? But Barter Fair, the spirit of it made me realize that human beings, when we lived in settlements of certain sizes, everybody had purpose.